Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to our conference revisiting Ivan Fedorov's legacy in early modern Europe. And this conference celebrates two anniversaries, 450th anniversary of the first precisely dated book printed in Russia. I think that would be the correct formulation. And also 440th anniversary of his primer, which Fedorov published in Lviv in 1574. And the main idea behind this conference is to look at Fedorov not from the perspective of national culture or national traditions, but as a very cosmopolitan figure who moved around what we call now Europe, worked in different places and created a wide network of his clients, his readers, and when it comes to readership, this place, the British Library owns one of the best collections. Probably some people would say the best collection of Fedorov's edition in the West, and we are very grateful to the British Library for hosting this event, and we also want to thank our sponsors who made this conference possible. It's CEELBAS, UCL Center for Early Modern Exchanges, UCL European Institute, and SSEES. And I think on this note, I will Katya. And sorry. It's Zmroczek, who is head of European Studies of the British Library.
Thank you. I shall only say a few words, as Sergei has already outlined what we're here to do today. But it's my great pleasure to welcome you all here today to the British Library, and it's a wonderful opportunity for us to discuss this significant anniversary with a group of international scholars like yourselves. As you know, and as Sergei has referred, the British Library has copies of both of these highly significant works. And Katya Rogatchevskaia, who's head of Russian here, will be talking about some of the fascinating story behind the 20th century rediscovery of these works. And Dr. Christine Thomas, who's sitting here, plays a big part in that story, so it's nice that she's here too. And it's a really good opportunity for us to continue our collaboration with our colleagues with whom we work very closely on a number of themes at CCCL and at CEELBAS, who we've helped to facilitate this event. So it's a really good opportunity for us, and we hope for you, that we're uniting your papers and scholarship with a show and tell of our collections, both of Cyrillic and other early modern printed works. So we hope you'll enjoy that during one of the breaks. I think you've already done the thanks for all the sponsors, but of course special thanks to you as well, Sergei, as organiser of the conference, and for Katya for all her work in helping to organise it too. So I wish you on behalf of the British Library a very enjoyable and productive day. Thank you.
And now it is welcome from me. And I'm a lead curator, East European curator, and officially it says Russian in brackets. So I do have responsibility for the Russian collections. So, and I entitled it with a slightly, my presentation will be a little bit of a kind of on the light side, not the scholarship. So I thought that would be entitled Ivan Fedorov, Primer's Ballet and the Choice of Curatorship. So how these all link together. So just to remind all of us how printing started in Europe and specifically printing in general. Not because I want to overload you with this Wikipedia type information, but just to remind that when we're talking about printing in Europe, we're talking about 1430s or 40s, right, when there was a revolution and movable print appeared in Europe. And then at the very end of the century, the 15th century, Cyrillic printing started. And then only in the 1550s we can talk about Cyrillic printing in the territories of Eastern Europe. So it took a little bit of time and probably didn't revolutionize the whole culture as it did in Europe. And another remark which I think is important for setting up the scene for the whole day will be that the Cyrillic printing in Muscovy was established as a state initiative, not a private initiative. And this was closely linked to political agendas. And we will hear about it, talk about it later today. And developments in state and church politics instigated printing. And it is believed that the first Russian press was established in Moscow under the initiative of Ivan the Terrible. So that's how Ivan the Terrible comes into the picture. And of course, Ivan Fedorov worked in the press, which is in scholarly literature called anonymous press. But he is called the father of Russian printing because he printed the first dated and named book, which is this one, which we are celebrating today. So the Apostol, and there are 3 copies, the 66 copies are known and described by Zmroczek in his catalog. And he also talks about 88 copies where no information of. Basically, what is important again today is that 3 copies of this book are in the UK collection, and this is one of them. Our copy, which you will see today, later, comes from a collection of Diaghilev, the so-called Diaghilev-Lefy collection. But Diaghilev became interested in literature and print culture back in the 19th century. When he first came to St. Petersburg, he was fascinated with the opportunities St. Petersburg was offering. But he didn't pursue this passion and only became sort of passionate collector in the very late in his life, in the last 3 years of his life. So between 1926 and 1929, he amassed an extremely valuable collection of print rarities and photographs. So now, come to Diaghilev. I'm going to show you a picture of Diaghilev. As Diaghilev hoped to use this collection and the archives of Belarus as a foundation of the Russian Cultural Center, when he died in August 1929, the French government actually took care of the collection and it went into the care of the French government. However, to show respect to the memory of Diaghilev, the French Minister of Education offered his collection, I mean, when I say collection, both collections, right? Print manuscript and the Belarus archives and collection of costumes. So they offered it to his close friend and younger colleague, protege, Sergei Bogatyrev, a dancer choreographer who actually bought it from the French government in the next probably 5 to 7 years. And in his memoirs, he said that he actually paid for this collection by his, by his dancing, by my food, he said. So on this photograph, anyway, I'll show you this way. The flag is here on the bottom, and this is Danilev. There are two other dancers, Lydia Sokolova and Leon Politkovsky in the Venice Lido. And I decided to show you this photograph because apparently this was the photograph put on the catalogue of sales catalogue of the Belarus collection when it was on sale by Sotheby's. So going back to our story, this is the Sotheby's auction in Monaco catalogue that lists Dagilev's print collection, print manuscript collection, and you will also see this book on display later today. So the description provided in the sales catalogue is pretty detailed, and I was really surprised how detailed compared to other items in the collection, how detailed the description was. However, in the Sotheby's catalogues, there are no guided prices, and unlike in modern auction catalogues now. And Sotheby's, they published their price lists with the names of those people and organizations who bought at auctions in separate price sheets. Unfortunately, I failed to find a price sheet for this catalogue in our collections. And I failed to find a marked copy. So what you'll see is a pretty fine but untouched copy. So anyway, Nemirovsky gives a figure of 62,000 francs, which in November, at the end of November 1975, according to the Historic Rates website, which this website recalculated it for me, and it equals 6,897 pounds in 1975. So, however, and there are very interesting but not very informative inscriptions in our copy, which also you will be able to see. But also, when we digitized this, we didn't digitize the whole book, but when I looked at these inscriptions in digitized form, they're absolutely amazing. So maybe there's some room. However, it just says that in 1606 it was sold to some cathedral caretaker, preacher Ivan Fedorov. But then we don't know what happened to this copy, with Dagilev's copy. And Dagilev's notebooks, now kept in the Library of Congress in the United States, there are many testimonies to his growing passion for collecting books and manuscripts, including references to dealers, and he worked with old books. So basically, I think maybe there is some room for research there. And our colleague Edward Kazinets presented a paper, but very preliminary remarks on this very informative source. So in Lefar's notebooks, their memoirs, he refers to a purchase in Rome, but it's not quite clear. In some, because Lefar made quite a few mistakes in relation to Dagilev's print collection. So I believe that he was talking about another book, Book 5. But in some sources I saw that this reference was attributed to Apostol. Anyway, let's go to yeah, so, sorry, this is the British Library copy at shelf mark with the inscriptions, which is not very clear here, but you will be able to see it in the book. Yeah, one more point, and Simon Franklin alerted us to this fact, and then I received the catalogue. So this is a new copy on sale at Christie's now. So with the guided price between 100 to 150 pounds. So it is available for viewing from the 17th of May in King Street. So, however, some of the books from the tabular collection, however, ended up in possession of his secretary, Boris Kakhnov, who sold them individually. That is how the first dated, not the first dated, the first East European acquired Ukrainian book, the Lviv primer, ended up at Harvard, in the special collections of Harvard University. And again, there are memoirs about it, and apparently it was sold only for $2,000. But again, I didn't see the documents. This all comes from memoirs. Because the seller didn't fully understand the importance of this copy. So it wasn't obvious for Kakhnov that was the only copy known at that point. And that was the same Ivan Fedorov printed it. So once the primer became known to the academic community, it became a real sensation and remained the only copy in the world known until in 1982, Dr. Christian Thomas found another copy and acquired it for the British Library from the Marlborough Rare Books. And here I know the price, and it was £11,000. So I found this in the archives, and in her initial report, now in the British Library Corporate Archives, Chris also indicated that this copy was bound together with another primer printed in 1637 by Butzev. And this is the second copy of the Butzev primer, so we had another one. But they were bound together, so they were acquired together. So as part of this conference and project, we digitized our copy of Booklight, and it is at the final stage, really. It will be available very soon. Unfortunately, our colleagues, for a variety of technical reasons, our colleagues couldn't meet the deadline and couldn't issue it by today, right? By the beginning of the conference. But we hope that we will get the link very soon, and we will be able to send it to all the participants. So, and finally, just a little bit of interesting information might work in the British Library archives. Some things that I couldn't find, but some things I did. And this is a letter from John Hills congratulating the library on acquiring Booklight. And this is a letter to him saying, yes, you're very welcome to help us. But what I found interesting is that he said, could you bring Booklight to Oxford and I'll be able to to tell you all about it. So, no. Unfortunately, it's not the policy of the British Library. However, if you absolutely cannot come to London, we'll think what we can do. So, and this is a report, initially, how she presented the book to get the Fedorov's books were not the only ones owned by Diaghilev, and according to the file, Часовник was also part of his collection. So in the UK we also have copies of Часовник, but not in the British Library, but we'll show you another important book, which is the Austrian Bible. Very well known, lots of copies available, but still I think it will be interesting for you to see how. So, I think, yes. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer now or later.
Only one question about the Monaco auction. Do Sotheby's not have a full price list in their record?
They probably do,
So
yes.
I'm sure they could print a copy off you.
Yes, well, potentially, yes, I can do that. I'm just hoping that we have it in the, in our collections, and I found everything apart from this one. So I think partly, probably, our problem is that was the first non-British auction, right? And that's why our sequence is a little bit blurred, right? So we have all, UK auctions, and that was the first one. And it's somehow filed, wrongly filed. Yeah. But yes, you're absolutely right. If I want to pursue it, this is the way.
I have a copy of that catalogue, and I think it's got the prices, so I can copy it for you.
Oh, okay.